look, we didn't get an ending, but he's still up there. I feel like that's cheating. I feel like that's cheating. Oh, well.
So what do we actually got to do here?
I have an idea, and if it doesn't work, we'll all look it up.
Okay.
Also, sorry about that. I'm opening a tall boy now.
Of Arnold Palmer. Is it the light half and half, or?
It's the light half and half, Arnold Palmer. And it's also now $1.99 per can instead of 99 cents, and I hate that.
Oh.
I haven't gotten one of these in like several years.
Brutal.
Several years. And I understand, but also you have that's a bit of my memory there. It's like if the Costco hot dogs started being more than $1, right?
Yeah, that's how you know minimum wage needs to be like $15, because it was what, $7.50 or whatever, and it was 99 cents, and now it's $1.99, and it's still the same wage. Just index it to the cost of the Arizona iced tea.
Anyway, yeah, that's my new price index.
Yeah.
Anyway, I believe if we go here, and then we skip ahead. Oh, it even brings us right to this choice point. Tip story. It even brings us right to this point here. Because this is where we... Is this the right point?
Is it?
This looks like... No, this looks... Because it's skipping is letting me skip, so... Let's see if this... Hey, Midori, I remember you. You were in the main route. I think it's after this Friday? Because right now they're going to look for... Yeah, they're going to look for Midori's friend, right? It turns out to be a bird.
It's very funny watching everybody's sprites really quickly cycle through the entire spectrum of human emotion.
Yep.
Because relatable.
All right.
Those all look the same.
I thought there was an option to skip ahead to the next Friday.
Interesting.
If I click Haruki, it does follow Haruki.
Yep.
Okay. That's not right.
Well, I wonder what we got to do.
Hold on. Let me try one other thing. Go downfall. Then start in chapter 3 instead of tips 3.
Okay.
And if this doesn't work, then I'll cut all this out and we'll just start later and y'all won't have to listen to me talking about Arnold Palmer. There's something sacred about the 99 cent, like 2-inch thick can, right? And however big this is. What is this, like almost a foot?
Is that? I'm bad at visually estimating distances.
It's not quite a foot, but it's a tall one. This, I don't remember if you ever did this, but stopping by that one dep on the way to high school, the high school that we went to.
No, I never did.
You never stopped at that one corner store that was right up the street from us?
No.
Oh man, on the way in, sometimes when I could drive, I would stop there, get like one of these cans and a big ass yogurt muffin, and that was the shit.
I never could drive and always was like, oh, that costs money, and if I eat at the school cafeteria, it's not going to cost a bunch of extra money, so I'm just not. So I never went, not once.
That's reasonable. That's reasonable.
But it's also weird. It was right there.
Money.
It was right there, and everyone went there, but
right.
Not me.
And it was like a thing where all the seniors would go there during the lunch break because they could leave campus for their lunch.
And I was a square who never ever once left for lunch, and just
really,
yeah, really.
Wow, I remember.
I was an incredible square.
Sometimes I took advantage of it to go out and get like sandwiches or something, because why wouldn't you? It's such a weird privilege. Like, oh, congratulations, you now have a, what is it, half-hour block? How long was it? It wasn't super long.
1.5 hour of freedom if you don't get stuck in the hallway traffic jam on the way there.
Yep. Anyway, see, here's the choice point I was looking for. Let's hurry up.
I won't take any detours. I'll press ahead. With that in mind, I tried to return to the world above when...
Don't play around too much, Natsume.
A silhouette appeared at the edge of my vision, making all my hairs stand up.
Hello, it's me.
Mamiya, why are you here?
Because I'm comfy as hell. Look at how warm this outfit looks. I've got a scarf and a long sleeve shirt on. And my eyes are cooler than yours. I only have the most boring haircut in the world, though. I look like what future generations will think a beetle looked like. Who knows? Why do you think?
Regardless, you're too late. I've found a what-if case where I can save them from you. Your existence doesn't scare me anymore. What's so funny?
Nothing. It just surprised me that you're still saying stuff like that. I know a word that describes you perfectly.
The man brought his face close and stuck out his tongue.
Nah. Dullard.
Blep face.
Mamiya with the blep face is adorable. I know it's meant to be menacing, but it's adorable. Kind of a cutie.
Eto. Bleh. I instinctively pushed him away and made some distance between us.
Eto. Black. There you go.
What? Who are you calling a dullard?
Well, who else is here, dear spectator?
You little.
That's right, I called you a tiny potato, a spectator. Get it?
Yes. His aim was precisely to disturb me. I'd only be playing into his hands by succumbing to anger. I had to observe this Mamiya for a while longer.
Wait, so you won't fight back if I call you names? Awesome. Hey, what's up, shithead? This is great. I don't feel bad at all.
The child wearing a rabbit mask, the gas-masked conductor, the girl in the nurse outfit, the invisible man. This human form was unlike any I'd seen in their stories.
I thought we'd already isolated some things that felt like they were similar, like the eyes in particular.
If Mamiya and Mamiya weren't one and the same, then... Are you the Mamiya that the people from the cafe spoke of?
Huh?
Name yourself.
Huh?
If you have a name, like Natsume Souichirou, then go ahead and say it.
You're not Natsume Souichirou anymore, though, are you? But if you're that desperate for a name, I guess Mamiya Yumehisa would do.
Interesting. Mamiya Yumehisa.
I don't want to gloss over Mamiya's point there that he is no longer Natsume Souichirou. Right? He has his memories, but he is now a spectator who is meant to not be to not be Natsume anymore. And if his body is no longer Natsume as well, it's only by this loose connection of memories and purpose that he even still calls himself Natsume.
Let me check something real quick, because I'm wondering if there's a names meaning thing. I felt like Yume meant spring or something.
Yumehisa. I don't... I feel like I should know that, and I don't.
No. I completely had myself confused.
Oh, you're talking about Yumehisa. I think I played that indie game.
It does not mean anything like spring. The Yume I was thinking of was indeed like dream.
Yeah, well, still, dream. That's important.
Yeah.
What about the Hisa part?
I have no idea. It also, my guess here might be completely incorrect because we're not seeing the kanji of it.
Yeah, that's true.
Who knows? But I just wanted to disconfirm my original thing. So I was thinking, oh, Natsume had a seasoned
You're not going to pull
name.
another hard read out at, like with Chichiliocosm? All right. Well, you may call me whatever you want, nameless spectator.
I'm Natsume. I'm not a nameless spectator. I'm Natsume to the bone.
Whoa, you're actually still calling yourself that. Did all the interfering give you some kind of weird confidence in that? In that case, I'm MAMIYA. If you claim to be Natsume, then call me MAMIYA. With not the all caps this time. Just to be clear. So, what changed after all your meetings with those four? Was there a point to all that effort you put in? No. It was all worthless. A complete waste of effort. You were biting your tongue for nothing. Go on then. Say my name. You're not gonna do the bit?
What bit?
You're Heisenberg.
Oh, I've never finished that show. Did we get to that point?
Oh, you haven't finished that show, right? You really should at some point. It is like, I feel like maybe it's a bit too oversaturated at this point, but it was a legitimately good show.
MAMIYA.
Good job.
Ugh. I can't believe it ended there again.
Took me a moment to find the MAMIYA voice again. It's been a hot second for me.
I wiped the blood pouring from my mouth, and for the first time in ages, filled my lungs with fresh air that tasted of books. I love the taste of books. Love chowing right down on a fresh...
Glucose.
Glucose?
Wait, no. Yeah? No, it's plant matter, right? So, no, that's not glucose.
Cellulose?
Cellulose.
I love the idea, though, of sugary books.
Yeah. No, that'd be a sucrose.
Glucose is a sugar.
Yeah, okay. And then cellulose is a sugar. You can't stop me. Yes, cellulose. I don't know words.
I had to stay calm and take deep breaths. Mamiya Yumehisa tried to flare me up, but I'd grown quite a bit.
I'm trying to remember if we heard the name Yumehisa anywhere before, and I cannot, for the life of me, think of one. So
I don't think
someone in the comments, I'm sure, will tell us.
Albeit little by little, the story has been altered. By seeing a different ending, I expanded the amount of possible what-if scenarios.
And one not ending.
I can't let myself take his words seriously. Everything's heading in a good direction. I clenched my fist as though confirming it.
Ow.
Up until now, I could do nothing but watch, dumbfounded as the drama below unfolded. But I wasn't just a part of the audience, I was a spectator. I could focus on one character. By doing that, I should be able to steer the story in that person's direction. That would prove especially useful in the stories of the four people from the cafe. With four characters, the story became a bit scattered. However, just like how you underlined important parts of a text, focusing on a single person gives me a deeper understanding. This was a huge step forward for me. It allowed me to use my new powers as a spectator to draw closer to the truth. All right, I'll get on it right away. Now, the important thing was deciding who to focus on. It was probably better to decide fast. Things could change from here, and it wouldn't be good if they got too messy. I had to think this through. After all, the information I'd find would change depending on the person I focused on. The one I want to know about the most is...
Another choice point? Oh, I bet I need my mouse. Toma, Arisugawa, Nigaki, or Samejima. I had to remember what voice is like, because you got very soft voice like this, right? And she got kind of this voice.
Yeah.
Although a little bit less obnoxious, I think.
Yeah.
And you had this voice, if
That's
I recall correctly. And you were Arisugawa.
I was.
Do you remember what voice Arisugawa had?
Kinda.
Awesome. Great. Who do we want to know more about? I guess we get to choose.
I feel like the only one we have any hook as to why they're relevant is Samejima.
Honestly, that's kind of where I'm like I feel like maybe there's a way to get kind of more of a solid foothold here. Let's try Samejima.
I chose to observe Samejima. What kind of person was he exactly? With that question in mind, I allowed myself to sink deeper into the story.
Oh my god, is each one of these characters going to have their own side chapter as well? I so hope so.
Samejima Satoru was a police officer.
I wouldn't call him trustworthy, though. What are we doing, like a mockumentary thing now? She just jumps right in. Like, it feels like she's giving an interview in, like, The Office, right? That's what this felt like.
I know exactly what you mean.
Really? He struck me as a composed person who is worthy of trust. Yeah, but he's, like, creepy and a huge gourmand. Just recently, he was... Samejima, you've got mail. Oh, my marbled beef must have arrived. Beef by mail. Samejima. I'm turning Iberian pork into sausage right now. Same! Can't go wrong with Caspian Sea yogurt. Care for a taste, Niigaki? I hear it does wonders for maintaining one's beauty. And that's the kind of thing he talks about. He's more of a gourmand than a policeman. You know what this feels like?
What?
This particular scene, and I don't know if this is anything, but like that little cut in there and the way that this feels like they're on a stage doing a play. Right? And you know what that felt like? Lighting changes, cuts over to a new scene, they're having a different conversation, while the two other characters kind of freeze in place for a moment off to the side. And then she comes back and finishes the thought. Right? I can see like the movements of them on a stage to this. He's just enjoying life. What's so wrong with that? I can't relate to that. I'd rather eat something cooked by someone other than me.
Mayuri, let's go to a lotteria.
Why not MOS instead? Hold on! Wait, who's Mayuri?
I guess Niigaki.
Arisugawa, I never said I was going, okay? I still do think Samejima is a good person, though. My job. Yes, I was just thinking about how strange you were. You see what I mean? This has that energy. The writing just got really weird all of a sudden and very noticeably shifted tone. And I don't know what to do with this information.
I just love the introduction. Like, hey, friendo, I was just thinking about what a weird little freak you are. Want to talk about it?
Oh, you know it. I see. Oh, there's not much to say, really. Well, I see. I suppose that's true. Toma! Don't just accept everything he says. He's clearly hiding something. Well, you think so?
Ah, crap. I drank some shochu highball. I guess I can still drive my bike, though.
Do that and I'll have to arrest you. I don't have to, but for you I will make an exception.
Just like that, Samejima Satoru remained ever mysterious, not showing his true self to the other three.
Oh, my apologies. I've been dispatched. This late? Well, good luck out there. Thank you. Please enjoy dinner without me. What an admirable adult.
All right, we're getting more meat.
Nice! More shirataki for me. Would it kill you to show some gratitude from time to time?
And just like that, the tall, narrow-eyed officer became a true part of the household. His job had no clear schedule, and he was busy most of the time. Come to think of it, something interesting we have learned.
Yep.
He was supposed to be an associate of, like an employee of, what's his name's parents, right? That was how he was originally introduced.
Yeah.
But he's a police officer here, so is that meant to be that the father of what's his name, Suo, is a police officer, like a director of a police department, or is it a contradiction? Are we seeing different things being told to us about this guy? Or is it
just kind of eliding what it is? Like, oh, this is a family friend or an associate of my father's, and it's really the policeman who has to come around and do a check on Suo every so often.
Okay. Could be.
I wonder if there's more going into that. Or maybe Suo has his own agenda. He's a policeman. He has a lot of leeway in what people will let him get away with. So, a lot of authority. So maybe he can just do that because he suspects Suo is close to a MAMIYA or something. I don't know. we've got a couple of options here. I do think as explicitly written, it doesn't feel right. But I also think I think Samejima might be eliding something somewhere.
But whenever he had the chance, he would enjoy some books or music in the living room. The other three had similarly kept to themselves. They often gathered in the living room to enjoy whatever it was they liked doing.
Oh. Is it just me and Niigaki here?
Arisugawa and Tomo were gone without a trace, which meant that Samejima was left alone with Niigaki. She looked quite awkward. The two, after all, had little to nothing in common.
Excuse me.
Samejima sat next to Niigaki, who was watching a show she'd recorded.
Man, do you remember having to record shows in advance?
I skipped right over that phase. We never did VCR taping of shows or had a TiVo or any of those things.
Yep.
So it was either watch stuff live or don't watch it. And we didn't have cable either. I never lived somewhere with cable, so
Oh, fair enough.
it was mostly just don't watch it.
I don't think I was ever I didn't have any of the pre-record my shows era because by the time I was old enough, my dad had gotten big into DirecTV, satellite TV stuff. And with that, there was a certain ability to watch stuff after the fact if you set it on, set it to save it. So it wasn't even like I had to if you wanted to watch something, we had to go out of our way to record it. But dang, imagine having to record your soaps every day, otherwise you'd miss them.
She threw him a glare that screamed, "Why did you have to sit next to me?"
We have this whole L-shaped couch, and you decided to go right next to me on one of the things. There's all this room. Oh, don't mind me. Keep watching your show. What show is she watching?
I don't know. Despite saying that, he fully expected the girl to just leave.
It's hard enough for me to watch Peep Show on my own. It's cringy enough with another adult here.
However, she remained in place and focused on watching the show.
Yeah.
Samejima found the show rather meaningless. He saw no point in stories made by people that were still alive. Plus, the show was about nothing. Explicitly.
Oh, she's watching Seinfeld now. Who is this Kramer fellow? How come his socks seem to be so slippery that whenever he walks in, it just moves a full 3 or 4 feet to the side?
It was raining outside.
Are we just going to gloss over he saw no point in stories made by people that were still alive? Is he is he a forensics detective or something?
Or he could be a history buff.
Either that, or I was thinking in the sense that what is the story made by the person who is now dead, right? Trying to put that together. But or more literal like that, yeah.
The room became even darker, and Samejima, worried about Niigaki's eyes, stood up to turn on the lights.
Samejima. Yes? Do you have a family? I do. Any siblings? Unfortunately, no. I see. And what are your parents like? They're very normal. My mother is a housewife, while my father is a salaryman. How boring. Indeed. That's so normal. I wonder... Samajima's actually been inserted as an NPC. He's living the default character life. That's why there's no details about him. I'm just ripping.
That would explain why he is the one person from this side of things that's crossing over, though.
Yeah.
And appearing in the other set of 4 stories. It would also explain why there are discrepancies in what we are told. And it would also provide thematic resonance to the little confrontation with Natsume toward the end of the last arc.
Right, because it's one of those I know what you are type thing. Maybe he's a spectator who kind of gave up and and wants to just live in the story as best he can. Kind of like, what's his name for the Matrix, right? Who's like, fuck this, just put me back in the simulation.
Give me a steak.
Give me a steak. All the steak tastes like sand, guy.
She seemed to be looking for the right time to speak up. Surprisingly enough, Samejima himself had taken an interest in the girl.
Yes, if my deductions are correct, you have the makings of a future felon.
He looked at the outline of her nose in the light of the CRT TV's screen, wanting to learn more about her. For the first time, he realized that her face had quite a beautiful structure.
You're an officer, right?
Yes.
And you've arrested criminals?
I have. Quite a few of them, in fact.
Murderers, too?
Of course.
Why do people get arrested if they kill someone?
I must admit, for the first time, you have struck me speechless.
Why didn't we think of that?
Shit, you're right. Why do people get arrested if they murder others?
Dang.
The girl, whose refined features resembled that of a doll, looked at him with eyes gleaming with curiosity.
Like, is this a subtler question, or is this as silly as it seems on the surface? Because, like, I can think of variants of this, right, that might make a little bit more sense, but on the surface of it, taken at complete face value, it does seem very silly.
Why?
He could have easily disregarded this as a nonsensical question born of a still developing mind.
Still developing mind that apparently can move out and live with 4 older men.
And yet he chose not to.
Well, it's because we live in a society. That's literally what he's... that's the line. Samejima, we live in a society, Samejima.
Need that screen cap.
Hold on 1 second. No!
Oh well.
Oh, well.
We'll get there.
We ought to just get it from the video. To live in a society is to uphold certain rules. You ever heard of social contract theory?
Hey, that's where it's going.
When a society was born, people decided on a set of rules to follow. One of them was to not kill other people. That's all there is to it.
Wait, really?
Yes.
What about morality and all that jazz?
Huh. It's not a topic I'm particularly familiar with.
But you're an officer, though.
But that is the line of thinking that allowed me to finally understand and accept it. Also, being an officer is not about morality. Being an officer ostensibly is about upholding the law, and the law is not necessarily moral, and they should not be construed as being the same. Not saying that's good, I'm just saying that's what it is. We stand on the ground, inhale oxygen, and exhale carbon dioxide. The idea that murder is bad is as strongly set in the stone as those facts of life. Until recently, I thought that killing was bad because you'd get arrested for it.
Wait, is that wrong?
It is. The one who taught me that was MAMIYA. Keep that a secret, all right? Trying to bind people with penalties alone is impossible. Seams would be created without fail. He said that to follow the rules is to play the game. This world is a game where we play to live well in this society.
This world is a game. Fourth wall break.
When I heard the word game, I was disappointed at first. I didn't expect him to use such a cheap expression. It didn't seem right. Games are based on the idea that the participants consent. It's what allows them to be fun. However, those who are aware that they're participating in the game we call society are few and far between. Nevertheless, that line of thinking made me understand it all. The reason why I found it strange was that we had to follow rules was because I wasn't playing the game. That's all there was to it. Interesting. So for a while, Samejima...
Is Samejima a sociopath? Is that what we're getting here?
That's kind of what I'm getting. Like, who has to be told, like... for saying who this is good or this is bad is not really, or morally good or morally bad is not going to be an argument that resonates. But this is a set of rules that we've all deigned to follow and created a society around. That makes sense to his mind. Interesting. I don't know if I'd go so far as to say that definitely makes him a sociopath, but you can see how A might lead to B.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not really sure if I understood all that.
I'm sorry, it is rather difficult to explain.
It's okay. It was more interesting than this show, at least. Ugh. The camera always, follows the one person's point of view, and it's just so disorienting.
Samejima was surprised.
Why are you watching a show that doesn't entertain you?
Good question. Think I'm just waiting for it to get better? You know how, Buffy doesn't really hit its stride until, mid-season 2, and then, season 3 is really, really good, but you had to watch all of season 1, which was just kind of okay to get there?
Samejima found Niigaki's feelings far stranger than his own words. Well, he seemed a bit scary when I met him, but he might not be a bad person. In fact, I'm becoming more and more interested in him. I should continue watching him for a while longer.
Update, my tall boy is gone and now I'm sad. Whew.
I'm going to invent an much smaller than normal can of beverage. Name's the short girl.
Oh, I thought you were going to call it the small boy. And I was like, oh, yeah.
Oh, no, that's better because it rhymes.
Yeah.
The tall boy and the small boy. Oh, no. It was cloudy out, preventing even the moonlight from reaching in. On days like this, he always thought of Mamiya. Samejima could see the bottom of his cup through the colorless, transparent water.
How long will this place continue?
What? Why are you here?
I could be asking you the same. Did you wake up to go to the bathroom?
I don't have time to go along with your bullshit.
That was a legitimate question. I just always sound like this.
The fact that he wasn't playing along left Samejima quite shocked.
Then why are you here?
No reason, I just took a midnight walk for a change of pace.
Do you not like this place?
Not even Samejima himself could quite tell why he had asked that. The words were a sign of weakness, and there was no way he would speak them to someone he supposedly hated. What kind of question is that? This place makes me want to puke. We're all licking each other's wounds while sharing whatever we have. That kind of feminine shit makes me sick, and I gotta be considerate of them too. So yeah, screw living like this. God, imagine considering the agency of another human being and having to respect them. That's the worst.
What if we had all thought about this before moving in together? About whether or not any of us would really want this.
Samejima could no longer contain himself. His long arm reached for Arisugawa's neck and lightly grasped it. Huh? Samejima had no idea what kind of face he was making at this moment. He loathed this man. He had never experienced feelings so subdued. Was it murderous intent? Loneliness? Samejima had no name for the feelings welling up in his chest. However, the power he poured into his grip was as weak as that of a hand sheltering a baby bird. His narrowed gaze bore into Arisugawa's surprised eyes. He finally stopped resisting. This man. What could he have seen in Samejima while his life rested in his hands? What did he come to realize from an expression not even Samejima himself could comprehend? His neck was hot and beating to a steady rhythm. Minutes passed. The two didn't speak a word. They listened to each other's heartbeats in the dark with different things flashing through their minds. Samejima slowly let go, prompting Arisugawa to quickly put some distance between them. Hey, Samejima.
I'm going to go to bed now. I'll be seeing you.
We can't actually go anywhere. Mamiya didn't allow that. We're in this world, this hell. And all we can do is swim around like a bunch of fucking tunas.
Huh.
You're like that too, aren't you? You goddamn migratory fish. That felt good to say. I've never called someone that.
Why? Why is he acting all high and mighty? And why did his face get all red when my hand clasped around his neck? Chapter 5. Do we want to keep going or do we want to go back and do one of the sides for the other?
I think we should roll.
Let's just keep rolling for now, and then if we get to another stopping point, we'll roll back and hit the. We won't pass the end of the chapter without going back for them. Don't worry about that.
Just try and fucking say that again.
I know you're a bit of a bird brain, so I'll repeat it as much as you want. Or is it your ears that don't work?
Gradually mutating this man into
Roswell? Yeah, he's gradually becoming Roswell, I know. I'm home. It seems pretty heated in here. Should we put the vases in a safe spot?
I already did. Might as well hide the TV, too. They used it as a weapon last time.
What caused this particular fight, anyway?
They are punching each other over their outlooks on life.
Now that's something.
It's just a front, though. They wanted to know something about MAMIYA. They are such idiots.
I'll go stop them. Cleaning up a broken TV would be a pain. Hello, you two.
Huh? What do you want, Bach? Don't you fucking try and stop us.
I must fix this person's line of thinking once and for all. Stop acting like children. It's not like your lives matter to the other, is it?
Huh? The two stopped in place. It does. Of course the stuff we all experience matters to us, all of us.
What?
Wait, what's that supposed to mean? Don't pull Toma into your petty little fight.
Oh, you two still haven't figured out the meaning behind this place.
What?
What about you?
Huh?
You strung up schoolboy. What about you? What kind of life did you lead, and how did you end up meeting MAMIYA? Say it. You act normal most of the time, but we're all birds of a feather here. That's the kind of place this house is supposed to be.
That is true.
Stop it, Arasugawa. This isn't the time.
I'm actually quite curious myself.
Samijima.
And I'm certain you feel the same.
Samejima's gaze made Niigaki look away. Indeed, she had always wanted to know.
I don't know why Roswell voice is on the mind. He's not even in the current season that's airing right now. Think about your life and your relationship to MAMIYA. What do we have in common? And what are our differences?
You don't have to say it, Toma. You don't have to say a word about our lives. It has nothing to do with MAMIYA coming back. Once MAMIYA comes back, I won't have to live like this anymore. I'll be able to finally leave this awful place.
Ha.
Okay. For people who MAMIYA cared about and was trying to spectate to make their lives better, and then realized in trying to make their lives better, just created this cycle where he can't ever decide on what ending to go with. And then realizes there is no actual happy ending. But by that point, the people he was trying to save are all stuck there, and is now seeing Natsume trying to do the same thing, and is trying to prevent that by getting his subjects to kill themselves and then be out of the cycle before Natsume can lock them in there forever. There's a bone of a theory there somewhere.
My theory was something like, what if these four people, it's the same? MAMIYA being there for them, being their friend and so on, was indeed trying to save them from this world through death. And MAMIYA going away, they they didn't succumb. They didn't kill themselves.
And
they
now
ended
they're
up going
forced
on
to
with
keep on
life.
living.
And now they're forced to keep on living, and they're in this gaggle of folks with no particular hopes or aims in life, feeling progressively worse about
Merely alive,
what
but
merely
not
existing, and are like, maybe it'd be great if Mamiya came back so he could finish the job, and I could finally stop existing in
living.
this
Spicy.
world.
We're getting some good takes here.
Man, kids these days are a bunch of limp dicks. Aren't you ashamed of having to hide behind a woman?
Limp dick is such a... I haven't heard that one in forever. I'm bringing that one back. Bring back limp dick.
Arisugawa!
You don't have to say anything yet. We'll have you talk eventually, though, and man, will you talk. Hell, we're going to be needing an index. I'll talk too. So will this guy and Igaki, everyone here. We'll have us all remember the meaning, the reason why we're here. Make sure to polish up your oratory skills so it all goes nice and smooth, all right? Sometimes things went well, at others they didn't. Through various exchanges, they seemed to be drawing close, but then things began to crack. Every now and then they realized that Mamiya was no longer with them. The realization would dawn on them while they listened to music, while they talked to classmates, while they ate breakfast.
Right, Mommy...
Samejima turned around, but there was no one there.
I'm sorry,
Time for food, get the sauce.
Are you seriously adding even more sauce? You'll get diabetes.
Today's sunny side up fried eggs were twins. Something good just might happen. Maybe. Perhaps our days will become sunnier as well.
They resumed eating as if that previous exchange hadn't even happened. They had all repeatedly experienced what Samejima did just then. And every time they were struck with worry. What if Mamiya had never existed to begin with? However, admitting that would make them lose the one place they could call home. The four merely continued eating.
They were at his funeral, right? He's got a gravestone, right?
What a twistedly unusual way to live together.
Four people who really don't have much in common being forcibly brought together by a fifth person in their lives.
Gee, how uncomfortable. Why would you do that to someone?
Why would you do that to someone, Natsume?
It's bound to fall apart any second now, but they act like they don't even realize it. Under these circumstances, it's only a matter of time until things go wrong and they start breaking down. Even now, things seem to be at a boiling point. They were surrounded by a thin sheet of ice, and it was covered in cracks. Even so, they continued to dance without realizing it. The one who stood on those cracks the most was him.
I can't take this.
The echo of Toma's voice filled the post-dinner living room. It was a rending voice that no one had heard him use before. Niigaki, Arisugawa, and Samejima were all at a loss for words.
I'm saying I've had enough of this way of life. Our opinions, our rhythms, nothing matches up. It's all in dissonance. Mamiya doesn't even exist.
The words that escaped his trembling lips stung like a knife in the guts. Only the ticking of the clock broke the ominous silence. No one said a thing. There wasn't anything to warm up the frozen atmosphere. Their minds went blank. None of them knew what to say, or what was even right. They didn't know what to do with their experiences. They didn't even have a firm sense of presence. Mamiya exists.
How you doing, Arisugawa?
Having a normal one as always. If Mamiya doesn't exist, then what the hell have I been doing until now?
You're right. Mamiya does exist. And if he didn't, then that would mean I've always been alone. The only person I have ever opened up to didn't even exist. No. I couldn't take that.
Why would you even say something like that at this point? It was simple. We merely had to acknowledge and believe in Mamiya. And since we're here, so was Mamiya. That would make it impossible for the others to prove that he didn't exist. It's a potent alibi. If the four of us with our shared experiences don't doubt it, we can keep this shared illusion stable.
Title drop.
A shared illusion of the world. Ah!
A shared illusion.
One of these days I will get a soundboard hooked up while we're Let's Playing, and it will be obnoxious. I'm gonna be like fucking Jim Cramer.
What?
Sell! You know his soundboard on his TV show? It's like what he's known for.
No, I have no idea what you're referring to.
The Mad Money guy.
Yeah, there's a soundboard involved?
Oh my god, I've got clips to show you later.
I just thought the guy had really bad financial advice, and that's why it was funny.
He does, but he also is very loud and has a soundboard that he likes to hit.
A soundboard, huh?
Yeah, with big buttons on it. It's a whole thing. Don't worry about it.
I need a soundboard for work purposes. I'm sure that would go over really well.
You've got something you could use for that, right? Your little noodly pad thing with the buttons.
True.
I don't remember what it's called, but you could probably turn that into one. You're the one who said we should decide on a set of rules. And now I'm telling you it's become so twisted that we finally hit a boiling point. Don't you see the cracks spreading around us? We can't keep this illusion up anymore. You're all aware of it, aren't you? We were all passionate at the start. And the shock of Mamiya's disappearance allowed us to glean happiness from the fact that we found one another. But that passion soon waned over time, and the opinions from our surroundings began to worm their way into our ears. We began to realize the difference between us and society. Hey, has anyone besides us ever acknowledged Mamiya? No one has even tried to search for such a person. It's almost like he never existed. Like he's been cut off from the rest of the world. You experienced it too, haven't you?
Toma threw a sharp glare at Niigaki and Arisugawa, making them both clam up.
Did Natsume exist? Did Natsume exist? Or did Natsume exist?
You know, you can tell how good a story is by what percentage of the cast you doubt actually exist.
Oh man, that's a good metric.
The less of the story that's being told actually happened or isn't relevant in any way, shape, or form, the better the story.
Yeah, exactly.
Indeed, they had experienced this before. Even though they looked around.
I did experience it. I asked around, but only I knew Mamiya. But if Mamiya never existed, then what of our memories? And the present that was built on them? I just need anyone to prove to me that Mamiya existed. To prove to me that I was right.
Wasn't this whole place established for that purpose? And now you're saying this cannot go on anymore. Bach is right. We've already come to realize it.
So, what now? Are you saying you're just gonna forget all about Mamiya?
Is it not enough that they all independently knew of this Mamiya?
How do you mean?
Because the Mamiya they all knew is different from the Mamiya that each other knew, right? But they all knew of a Mamiya before coming together on that funeral day. Whatever that was.
Did they?
Did they? Have I been making an ass out of me in Mumptions? Interesting.
I could never do that. The memories I've made with Mamiya are already a part of my life. Yet you're saying we should all just give up. Since we're unable to keep up the lie that Mamiya existed, we should just admit that the person was fictional all along. If we do that, we would just...
Then what do you think we should do? How can we put a period at the end of this reality? We should just end it once for all. We need to put an end to this twisted way of living together, and we need to stop searching for Mamiya's presence. The time has come to wake up from the dream. It is time to face reality head on. The reality that we're just all mentally ill. We're isolated from society, and we are the ones in the wrong. You good?
Mamiya, if the cast found a good therapist. Much shorter game.
Yeah, I saw a huge uptick in intake appointments over the past week, but it's been really positive.
Suddenly, like 8 new clients joined my rotation, but like...
I'm happy to help. Very similar problem sets with a lot of them. Not all the same, but some heavy overlap.
Yeah, kind of odd. You're saying that we're wrong? I already know that. I know that, but if we break down, if we play along with society, then what will become of our Mamiya? An entire person would literally disappear in the strictest sense of the word, and no one would be any wiser.
Oh. You like me the way I am now, don't you? Oh. No, wait, no, this is his Mamiya, right? Don't make a face like that. I'm sorry, Satoru.
The feelings Mamiya gave us are more than real. Mayuri, don't force yourself. Go at your own pace. Cry when you want and don't be so tense around me. No one will hurt your pride here. Since we're the only ones who know Mamiya, Mamiya would vanish the moment we looked away.
Toma, once you get to a point where you can talk about everything that's happened to you, with a smile on your face, I'm sure you'll become stronger.
Mamiya. Mamiya! Mamiya! No.
We're the only ones who know of Mamiya. Mamiya doesn't exist in this world. We're mentally ill people detached from society. So, since we can't play along with society, we have no choice but to break it. Let's use our power and spread the word of Mamiya to many, many people. Let's start a fucking cult, bro.
Huh.
Right now.
Cult.
Mamiya must become like the scales of a song everyone knows, like the laws of a country, like the 3 needs of mankind. Our goal is to create a situation where Mamiya is known by everyone. Mamiya saved us. Oh.
Mamiya saved us. So now it's our turn to help those in need. And every time we do that, Mamiya will be remembered.
With gentleness and broad-mindedness, let us help others.
Like the giant moon that sat above Tokyo Tower that night. Why are they so fixated on Mamiya?
Is that the only thing you're curious about? That's it. That's the thing that you're interested in, Natsume.
Mamiya is nothing but an illusion that doesn't even exist in their world. The moment I muttered that, I felt a certain discomfort in my left arm. What? My hand is itchy. Urged on by that peculiar sensation, I ended up taking off my glove. My hand, which had been protected by the glove all this time, suddenly had countless cuts on it. Huh? What's this? I checked my other hand too and found it similarly covered in reddish lines.
Careful there, Natsume.
When did I get these wounds? I've always had my gloves on. I looked at my palm and saw a red line appear out of nowhere, making it look like I was being cut by something invisible. Huh? It began at the tip of the middle finger, then went down to the wrist. Ah! I could feel it. I could feel the lines forming under my clothes, on my elbows, my upper arms, my armpits, while still utterly befuddled by what had just occurred. Ugh! I suddenly felt a sharp pain, the kind you'd get from a paper cut, flare across my entire right arm. I need to be careful not to dirty the books.
Man has his priorities straight. Get grievously injured? Shit, don't get this on any of the books.
My palms, as well as both my arms, were bleeding without end. I ran back to the librarian while still trying to stop the bleeding. Miss Librarian?
Oh, what is the matter, Natsume?
My arms are,
What? Your arms? What is this red liquid? Is this that thing they call blood?
It took you that long to realize.
Oh, so this is blood. Oh. Ah.
With a complexion as white as marble, the librarian looked intently at my injured arm. Do you have something I could use to stop the bleeding?
Ah! Yes. Yes, we must stop the bleeding. Unfortunately, there are no first aid kits around. These types of wounds never occur here, you see.
Great.
Not to worry, though. There is a hospital some distance away. I'll go there and get one.
Thank you, and, I'm sorry.
Oh, do not concern yourself with it. In any case, just wait a moment. I shall be back shortly.
She grabbed her coat and bag before running off like the wind.
Oh, that was blood. It was so red.
Left alone, I looked up at the clouded ceiling. Surrounded by black books. Title drop! This
Wait, wrong Britcom.
This place was like the bottom of the sea. I looked at the spines and saw faint numbers on them. Some were familiar, while others looked more like complex hieroglyphs. There wasn't a single story in here that I was in charge of. Their lives were utterly unremarkable when compared to the whole of mankind. Even so, through blood and sweat, they did their best to live their lives. And I had to make sure that their feelings were rewarded. After all, only I could save them. She mentioned a hospital. I wonder how far it really is. Are there really people outside this facility and personal rooms? There's only one building here, though. Man, I really am clueless, huh?
Hey, you are, but it's good to hear you say it.
I made a self-deprecating smile while looking in the direction the librarian had disappeared to. I couldn't even touch any books until she returned.
Greetings to you.
Hello? I felt my shoulders trembling. This was the first time anyone other than the librarian had addressed me. She wore the exact same uniform as her.
New character? New character?
In other words, there were other librarians and spectators around. And the one behind the door? Has he ever worked here?
Nope, never mind. Apologies for the wait. I brought some bandages, gauzes, and antiseptic.
You've no idea how much I appreciate this.
Now I'd like you to sit down and show me your arm.
Are you sure about this?
Absolutely. I've learned how to treat a bleeding wound. Wait, there's a hospital around here. There's a book with a hospital in it that I can go
Yeah, gotta go read a
Quickly.
hospital book real quick and
It's the
take the
Matrix
bandages
again.
out.
Wakes up. I know hospital.
I've become an expert in hospital. I did as told and presented my arm to her, after which she sat down next to me.
This might sting a little.
I can handle it.
Oh, you brave boy, Natsume. I must say, though, the strangest things seem to happen to you. Normally, spectators never suffer injuries of any kind.
The sense of astonishment in her tone was clear as day. Really?
The world's people spectate are, of course, another matter entirely, but when it comes to this place, there's nothing here that can hurt us. There might be some other cause.
The way she touched me made it seem like she'd already figured out everything I'd been doing. Her closed eyes made it difficult to read her thoughts. I felt cold sweat gather on me.
You are certainly not a bore.
What?
People like you are truly a rarity. You got hurt, and yet you remain fixated on a single story. What is our Lord thinking? I would prefer it if I didn't have to deal with uncertain variables. You are precarious.
She muttered that while putting the bandages on me.
You're a bit like that person.
Ms. Librarian.
There, all done.
She pulled her hands away, leaving my arms covered in bandages. Wow, thank you so much.
Do not mention it, but please make sure it doesn't happen again. In any case, I'll be returning to my post. I'm trying to finish today's Wordle.
She had vanished beyond the bookshelves before I could say anything in response.
What do you mean the only vowel is a Y? That's barbaric.
Have you tried syzygy?
Wait, isn't that too many word letters?
That person.
Hey you, what's with all this? Oh wait, no, hold on, right. Well, hey now. What's with all that there sign in front of my door?
So, do you know what she meant by that person?
Huh?
Never mind, forget I even asked.
Is there some kind of problem in the story again?
No, it's got nothing to do with you.
Well then, why the fuck are you here? Am I imagining things, or are you treating me kind of differently this time around? Wow, CG, Natsume. So pretty.
By the way, why are you even here in the first place?
I'm gonna ignore that one, eh? Well, whatever. So what do you mean by here?
Well, you know, that dark place behind the door. It's almost like you're locked away. Aren't you a spectator like me? There was a brief silence.
Well now, what would make you think that?
The advice you gave me in response to what I said about the story is far too precise. It didn't sound like mere conjecture. I sort of assumed you were talking from experience.
Now, I ain't even sure I've been talking too much, or if you just become more perceptive. As your senior in this, I'm hoping it's the latter.
He chuckled in that cheerful tone of his. The librarian told me not to approach this place, but I can't imagine you as someone who'd be sinful in any way.
Oh, but I am. This place may be separated from the flesh, but that don't just make the sins etched into one's soul go away. I'm a problem child, and a joker, and a smoker, and a midnight toker. I break the rules just for fun.
His tone beyond the door had become somewhat self-deriding. It felt like he was using big words to avoid talking about a certain something. Could you tell me more? About your time as a spectator, I mean.
Well now, it ain't much of a grand adventure, I assure you of that. I was young back then, and as people kept praising my abilities, I turned complacent. So I came to believe I could use my powers to save a whole story, or at least a character anyway. And this here's the result. I'm locked up. All thanks to my hubris.
I could almost see him shrug behind the door. I was, however, still maintaining a serious expression. His story was too much like mine.
I ain't like you.
He said that as if he had read my mind.
Yours is a rare and a tragic case. Someone retaining his memories of his time spent below. That's why you want to save your friends in the first place, ain't it? And you know, that's all well and good. My case, on the other hand, is quite different. I saw hundreds of stories and countless characters, but I ended up feeling sympathy for only one. This person didn't even take up too many pages in that story.
His tone was filled with deep affection. It sounded positively heartrending. Do you regret what you did? Do you regret breaking the rules and being caught for trying to save someone?
No.
His tone turned gentle.
This is a gentle tone. Well, my circumstances don't really have nothing to do with yours, so you may as well forget all about it.
I can't just do that. I've learned many important things from you, and this is a story you hold deeply. Dearly, even. It was an honor to hear it.
Huh. You sure are a stick in the mud, ain't you?
I know I can't begin to understand your story or the pain you experienced. Even so, I think it was right for you to act based on your own sense of justice. Please don't let it get to you.
Why, did I seem down to you?
Yes, a bit.
Huh. Oh man, you sure are a pain to talk to. I know I just told you all this stuff, but I'm actually about to be released. Apparently the higher-ups are still fond of me, or I guess they just need more manpower, one of the two. For a while I'll be constantly observed and given a whole bunch of work, but that's par for the course, really.
Does that mean you?
Yeah, I might just get to see your face, newbie. Go produce some results before that happens, why don't you?
I will.
Huh. Whoa now, this went on for far too long. She warned you, ain't she? There won't be a second time. Go back.
Okay, see you next time. He might actually be released. He seemed genuinely humane and was someone I respected, and he sacrificed everything for the sake of love. The fact that he would soon be freed made me happy like it was happening to me. Bandages beneath my leather gloves, the sound of his bashful voice. I smiled, feeling as though the world was moving in a wonderful direction. All right, I'm gonna do my best.
Natsume motivation speech. To follow the rules is to play the game. I will treasure the words you've taught me. I know my role in society. If I consider it my job to keep in check the people who don't understand that, it makes me feel like I'm carrying on your legacy. It truly is an honor.
Samejima, come here.
Yes, sir.
You handle this?
But this is...
Just do it. Samejima looked at the documents and slowly lowered his arms.
Double accounting.
He'd heard rumors of bribery, but he believed them to be just that, rumors. He was lucky to have gone so long without finding out about this. But within the organization, it was already very much known.
Chief.
Oh, Samejima, are you done?
I cannot do it.
And here I thought you'd finally understood how organizations worked. Are you trying to act all upright because Suo's watching you?
Get him with Suo.
I think it's about time you learned how to read the mood. Well, it's fine for the time being. Even if you refuse now, there will be tons of people calling out to you. But don't blame me if this gets in the way of a promotion. Anyway, do your best.
To follow the rules is to play the game. Isn't that right, Mamiya?
No matter how hard you tried to be an upstanding citizen, if the others had no intention of ever obeying the rules, then doing the right thing would only make them treat you like a nuisance.
Oh boy. Was that Samajima's inner monologue?
I don't know.
Am I in the wrong here? No matter how much I try to do the right thing, if the judge is a fool, then the rules would just lead back to disorder.
But even you!
Arasugawa's writing a story about Mamiya, though.
I can't.
Arasugawa? Your lip is bleeding.
Sorry, I just can't write my story.
Huh?
I'm utterly unable to convey Mamiya's qualities, charms, humor, or knowledge.
But why? Why can't you do it? Don't give up, Arisugawa. If you can't do it, then we... Do it. Come on, just do it. Write your damn story already. Why can't you just do it?
Niigaki.
Why?
So it seems that not a single one of us was able to feel it. We couldn't overcome society. We lost. And all we did was realize how utterly weak we've been. Just the act of Just the act of living is making my heart wear out. It's always been like this. This world is so hard to live in. The only reason I'd managed to get by was because Mamiya was there. No matter how many memories we share, none of you are Mamiya. There's no point to anything if Mamiya is no longer around.
Why? If Mamiya has no shape, that means she can stay around without ever dying. But then why? Why aren't you here, Mamiya?
Why didn't you take me with you? A world without you has no meaning whatsoever.
Why? This is a lot to endure.
The afternoon moon above was so much fainter than at night. Oh. Mamiya is so far away. Their disappointment had turned to fatigue, and soon enough they no longer had the will to muster up
Sorry.
any more courage again. Samejima was standing atop a pedestrian bridge. Many cars were passing by, and not a single person spared a thought for Mamiya. That fact alone couldn't have been more obvious. However, it made Samejima's heart ache. As he walked, Samejima mulled over everything that had happened so far. The countless times Niigaki had run away from him. That time he and Toma ate sashimi in secret. The pulse he felt through Arisugawa's neck that night. And that pink house that Samejima had picked. Back at the beginning of it all, when they first had a chat at that cafe with a view of Tokyo Tower. The first one to suggest talking about Mamiya was Samejima. It felt only apt that he would be the first to open up in this place as well.
What's wrong, Samejima?
You called everyone here. What do you want? I'm a busy guy, just so you know.
Thank you for gathering here. There is something I wish to tell you.
What?
I have something to confess. I killed Mamiya.
Samejima uttered the words like they were nothing, like something you would say between two sips of coffee. For a moment, none of the others could process what he had just said. Samejima killed Mamiya? So the reason why Mamiya wasn't here, the reason why Mamiya died was... You asshole! The first one to act was Arisugawa. He yelled out and threw a punch at Samejima, who evaded it with ease. Arisugawa's shout made the two students snap out of their shock. Despite his earlier failure, Arisugawa tried going at Samejima again. You killed Mamiya? You're not getting away with this.
Huh?
Samejima killed Mamiya, but why?
Normally, Niigaki and Toma would try to calm things down, but even they sided with Arisugawa this time. The three of them pushed Samejima against the wall, yet he maintained much of his composure.
Oh dear.
I'll kill you. I'll kill you right now.
Such a simple man. I still haven't finished talking.
What?
Yes, I killed Mamiya. Many times since last year, in fact.
Many times? Arisugawa loosened his grip as the three watched Samejima fixed his clothing and smiled.
Mamiya was immortal. No matter how many times I killed him, he would not die. All of his deaths were beautiful.
What do you mean? Samejima slightly opened his eyes and looked over the three before theatrically raising his arms.
Allow me then to talk about Mamiya's wonderful deaths.
Unflinching in the rain, standing strong in the wind, snow and summer heat will not defeat me, with a body made of steel and free of worldly desires, with no rage in my heart, and always with a silent smile. That is what I wanted to become. For the longest time.
I think this has got to be Samejima,
Okay.
right? For the longest time, I had felt that I was somehow different from the others. For the longest time, I had failed to understand why people would talk behind each other's backs. I had always assumed they could just say things to one another's faces. When Sawata was informed that Nishino was talking about him, the two of them stopped talking completely. My family was especially simple. And yet I alone found it difficult to live. The flow of the world, the very air around me, I couldn't understand any of it. Believed that time and death were the only things we all shared evenly, and yet I never once contemplated suicide. Until now, I had tried to find ways to fix myself, and that certainly was a sign of avarice. I should have been more modest. That would have allowed me to live in this world as others did. The world was so tumultuous. The crowds, those worthless pieces of meat, the sounds, why wouldn't they ever cease? I would often think that it all ought to stop. A closed water tap. Seeing corpses would calm me. They weren't noisy. They were pleasantly cold. I never saw them as a bother. I don't know if religious takes were apt, but might have been due to the lack of a soul, as some would call it. Also found the stench of death and decay to be quite beautiful. Death was the process of returning to nature, and that felt both right and refreshing to me. Few things were as wonderful as the moment of death. I was a detective, and yet often found myself envious of others, of doctors. Tell me, do you know what it's like when people die? It is akin to slowly sinking into the sea, allowing one to sense the gradient between life and death. You could never see the true point of death. Oh, I'd love to see it again. Beautiful things do enrich one's life after all. I must have simply disliked people in general. Perhaps this realization arrived too late. Even so, a lot of time had passed until it came to me. Years upon years, in fact. I had thought long and hard about why I was so different from other people. Oh, but of course, I was going to talk about my meeting with Mamiya, correct? Apologies for keeping you waiting. I implore you not to lose your temper. Everything has its order, you see, but I'm certain you're well aware of that. So then, allow me to start. It happened during my daily routine. I often went out walking at night. I would never forget it. I was walking along the Arakawa River one fall evening as the new moon sat high upon the sky. Huh. That certainly does look like a shorter version of the Mamiya we've seen,
Tiny Mamiya.
but with like Arasugawa's jacket?
Conservation of wardrobe.
I see. And like Calvin's t-shirt. He was like a clear stream. That was my first impression of Mamiya. He was like pure, black asphalt drenched in darkness. And within that listlessness he stood there, as if caressed by the beautiful wind itself. he would do, I had thought to myself. He made for a good first target. I wished to stain my hands with his blood and entrails. And so, I sprang into action, quick as a bolt of lightning. Here in the middle of this runway, deserted highway, I don't know where we are. I would put him to sleep and carry him away. I wanted to savor him at a place brighter than this. I didn't think about it too much. Knocking a child unconscious would be as easy as subduing a small animal. I snuck up on him and punched the base of his neck. I caught him as he collapsed. The feeling of his bones made my heart beat faster. I took him to my car like a mother carrying a child, too exhausted to even cry. In retrospect, I'd certainly let my guard down. Sheer excitement got the better of me, and that was why. I think this is his MAMIYA. This kid.
You've been very naughty, mister.
I didn't expect to hear a voice right at my ear. Huh.
What now? Are you just gonna throw me in the car, watch me as I wither away, or tear the flesh from my bones?
Oh? How was he reading my mind?
I won't run. I couldn't even if I wanted to. It's not a big deal anyway.
Why wasn't he crying?
Because I'm interested in you.
Interested in you. Interested in you.
I can't keep doing that every time it comes up, but I want you to know it does go through my head.
Ever so softly, that androgynous voice passed through my eardrums and ravaged my brain directly. As I felt an overwhelming amount of goosebumps cover my skin, the boy looked me straight in the eye. The mold, the universe expanding in those eyes, was profoundly vast. Next thing I knew, I had killed him. Oh? It was too late. My hand had already sunk into his slender neck. What a waste this had been. I really wanted to take my time and savor it. Normally I would never succumb to my impulses like this, and yet, the moment I saw his eyes, everything was over. I'd lost control of myself, and all it took was a twist. The child's death was far more simple than I had imagined. This was the first time I had killed someone. I merely wanted to see its beauty. Did death usually evaporate like this? The very moment it was caught? Or was it like this because I had rushed? What a waste, truly. It was such a waste for it to end here. I should bring him home with me. I hid the child in the bushes and drove my car over from the parking lot, took out a large ice box meant for fishing, and forced his body inside. I'm back! While driving, I had many things on my mind. Jesus Christ, man! Would others be worried about the police? Personally, I didn't worry about it at all. Even if the truth got out, I was confident I could get away with this. As an officer myself, I knew what they found difficult to address. More importantly, I had to deal with the child in the ice box. Was I to freeze him, dismember him, and label each of the parts? Perhaps I could create a studio for him and keep recording until decay set in. Many ideas came to mind, all of them equally enticing. I felt like a fisherman thinking about how to cook his bountiful catch. It's very gothic all of a sudden, like, right? Like, how do I capture death now that I have this corpse that will only be here for so much longer? Jesus Christ, man. All right. I took the icebox to the bathroom and opened the lid. Inside, I found the body of the child I had forced inside. It was flattened here and there. I felt crushed by the realization that I had wasted him. Wasted. GTA font. Suddenly, I was struck by the idea to keep him in an aquarium like a Medaka. What's a Medaka?
I don't know, but I'm about to find out.
An aquarium. I remember that I had an aquarium from the time I kept tropical fish. I was sure to learn many things while watching him float in the water.
It's a little fishy.
Oh, they're a little cute. My heart began to beat faster just thinking about it. I took out the aquarium, cleaned it up, and filled it with water. It was full in no time. However, I felt that he would be quite cramped in there. I had to make him smaller to make it easier for him to swim. I returned to my room and grabbed my favorite hunting knife. It gleamed in the moist air of the bathroom the moment I raised it over the boy.
You killed me?
No, I didn't. No, I didn't. You can't prove it. I felt my hair stand on end. This was bad, dangerous even, but how? The moment that thought crossed my mind, the blade in my hand changed trajectory and went straight into his eye. Again, and again, and again.
It's no use. Take this.
Apparently I had murdered Silver the Hedgehog. Why are you still alive? I'm not going to be a sore sport about this. You've clearly bested me. I'm just... How? Why?
Unfortunately for you, Satoru.
How do you know my name?
Whatever it is you want to see, I don't have it.
Well, why won't you die? I forced the knife into the top of his head. The tiles were stained in blood. His beautiful face was now a pain to look at. Despite that, the child continued to smile. We don't need this as a CG. I'm just saying that. We don't need mutilated body as a CG.
Let's talk, Satoru. I know you wanted to do it, to have fun with me slowly.
My hand came to a stop. That was an attractive idea. His androgynous features, his unbefittingly seductive words. Felt as though I was being invited to take part in a game considered strictly taboo. It felt like the closest thing to death the world had to offer. What is your name?
I'm MAMIYA, Satoru.
MAMIYA. What a strange name. Although it was just a name, it sounded like an arcane spell no human lips were ever allowed to mutter. What are you? I furrowed my brows, making my voice hoarse. He didn't seem to care, though. He raised his blood-stained head and brought his face closer to mine. We were close enough to kiss, and he...
You can let yourself loose, Satoru.
Stuck out his red tongue and smiled. That was the start of my cohabitation with the strange boy called MAMIYA. Several hours had passed since I sunk the knife into his flesh. He'd lost more than enough blood to die, and yet still he continued to breathe.
Why not give up and sleep? The sun's about to come up.
Not yet. Not until I see you die.
Are you afraid that you'll go to sleep and wake up, only to realize you've been dreaming?
Afraid? Me? Certainly not. Also, this is not a dream. I did actually kill you, no takebacks.
You're right, this isn't a dream. What you feel right now is as real as it can be.
But that makes this even harder to understand. You should have died when I twisted your neck and stabbed you. You should have died at least twice, and that's a low estimate.
Indeed.
And yet, you are still talking despite having lost most of your blood.
I do enjoy talking, yes.
But dead men tell no tales, do they?
Hmm.
Please, don't fall silent like that.
I thought you preferred silence.
It made me uneasy.
You're strange.
Until today, I've never met anyone stranger than myself. My words got a chuckle out of Mamiya.
Tee-hee.
It was fitting for a boy his age. Before I realized it, I'd lost consciousness. As an officer, I often had days when I didn't get any sleep. This time, however, I fell into a slumber like something sinking into a lake bed. When I woke up, I found myself in the bathroom where I'd killed the boy. Huh? Mamiya was nowhere to be seen. Huh?
Oh, morning, Satoru.
You're bleeding on the nice couch. Dashing into the living room, I found him just sitting there, all normal and healthy. Could you not bleed on the upholstery, please? Why are you here?
Because it's morning. But man, this house sure is empty.
Yes, I'm rich and alone. That's the whole thing. Didn't you bleed out and die in the bathroom? Started to panic, but his raised finger rendered me silent.
You'll be late for work, Satoru.
You'll just run away, won't you? I won't let that happen. My work no longer matters as long as I have you.
You'll lose your social position and begin to stand out. Don't worry, I'll be here when you return.
You're lying.
I'm not. Trust me. Go on, get dressed and brush your teeth.
Mamiya.
Have a good day, Satoru.
Night fell. I slowly opened the front door. I had no hope. I didn't think he would still be here. Working my day job had returned a certain sense of reality to me. There was no way one could kill people so easily. It was similarly impossible for a person to still be alive after having died so many times. Except for dead Dave, who is an outlier and should not be counted. I was beginning to entertain the idea that this had all just been a daydream. The only reality I had was the one left in my hands. The living room was dark. I didn't sense anyone waiting for me in there. That was to be expected. I couldn't help but chuckle. Mamiya had vanished, and I felt exhausted. As I went to sit down on the sofa, Mamiya was right there, sleeping on it.
Welcome back, Satoru.
Mamiya. I gently touched his small hand. I would love to kill you right now. May I?
Of course.
He squinted his eyes, still moist from having just woken up. He accepted my desires. I went on to kill him every single day after coming home from work. Samajima! What the fuck, man? Weirdly, a part of me is hoping that this is literally you killing him and not a different thing, because there's a subtext that you could read into this, and I'm choosing not to. Yet no matter how many times I killed him, Mamiya would never die. I chose to accept that as a fact, and so I thought up countless ways of murdering him. I punched him, drowned him, flayed him, broke his joints in strange directions, left him in a room with a high carbon monoxide concentration. He died every time. And every time, he would wake up again and talk to me as if nothing had happened.
Say, Satoru, did you ever love someone when you were little?
Clearly no. I think I did, yes. I've forgotten her name, though. I was still in elementary school, you see.
What was she like?
She had bobbed hair, a plain face. Looking back, she wasn't particularly cute at all. I don't even remember what drew me to her. I ate a sandwich and talked to the shackled corpse. It was a simple egg and ham sandwich. I used the butter I'd ordered plus some fresh eggs, so it wasn't as bad as you'd expect. Mamiya seemed to enjoy chatting with me. Talking wasn't exactly a forte of mine, and I didn't think I'd make much of a conversational partner. When talking to Mamiya, though, none of my worries showed on my face. The smell of decaying blood, the pleasant sensation of bread against my teeth, and finally the casual little chats Mamiya and I had. I enjoyed this space. It gave me something I hadn't felt in a while. A sense of peace. They were gentle, quiet days. They seemed to pass by in an instant. I feel like MAMIYA is the only person to ever talk to me. Why? I sometimes have that feeling come over me. Perhaps that's just how it is. We've talked many times, and each time I came face to face with my own immaturity and naivete. I became focused on arguing him down, and the next moment I would notice the color of his eyes. His green eye had an arcane light to it that seemed to embrace my heart. His black eye seemed to reflect my hideous self like a clean mirror. It was like being submerged in a lake at midnight. As the darkness of the lake's surface became one, the water would rid me of all my senses. Drifting weightless in the water, in that inky, never-ending darkness, I felt at peace, as though having entrusted myself to the Almighty. It was an indescribable kind of bliss that nearly brought me to tears. I felt happy being lost in the bottomless depths of those eyes. They passed through my brain and melted into my very consciousness, leaving me at a constant loss for words. I found myself profoundly entranced by every clever inflection spoken by his girlish lips. MAMIYA's words had always greatly impacted my daily life. They had a particularly notable influence on my relationship with society. One day, Mommy and I were eating at the table. I was enjoying a sirloin steak. I cut it into small pieces and used a fork to bring them to my mouth, occasionally washing them down with some soy milk. MAMIYA was eating steamed buns with milk. He drank it straight from 1-liter paper pack, making loud gulping sounds. Lunch with a corpse was quite fulfilling.
What is it? You're not eating.
Is this the dead will walk deer scenario? Like, did he just kill a boy and now he's keeping his corpse around while it slowly rots?
Maybe. I'm honestly, there's a lot of ways this could go, and all of them are really bad.
All of them are really
all of them
bad.
Are really, really bad.
Yeah, I know. Oh.
Or are you worried about something?
It was rare for me to expose myself like this. In MAMIYA's presence, I couldn't help but let my guard down every now and then. Well, I don't feel too good at work. My job always requires cooperation since acting solo is generally looked down upon. As a result, I often have to operate with other people. Recently, there was a crack in the relationship between the team members.
Did you notice that yourself?
No, my superior pointed it out. I didn't even think about it until then.
And?
Well, I'm the leader. I'm supposed to do something. Society says that men rarely talk behind one another's backs and that there's no drama in our relationships, but I don't agree with that. In fact, I find that men are more ambitious and jealous than women, so they often do what they can to bring others down. At the very least, I tried to make sure that it wouldn't happen at the police station I worked at, but it did not go very well. I just don't understand. What is considered acceptable to say and what makes people upset? I sighed and continued eating my sirloin steak in silence. This has been on my mind for a while now. Is there a way to make them stop talking behind each other's backs? MAMIYA stopped to think for a moment before speaking up.
You can't do that, Satoru. You can't just stop the flow of other people's words. Even if you shut one or two people up, someone else would speak. That's how rumors work. It's how they spread and circulate.
It's like MAMIYA is him arguing with the part of his brain that already knows the answer, right? And just trying to get himself to get there. You never have those conversations with yourself where you're upset and you already know the answer where you'll end up, but you have to still work through it and get there, and it's not pleasant or fun?
Yeah. My discussions with myself, though, are by and large knock-down, drag-out fights about abstract philosophical concepts.
I know. Some cage fights happening in there.
You've caught me pacing around the kitchen at 3 a.m., arguing with myself about the nature of free speech or whatever.
Have. She won't go to bed on time if she's anxious about the nature of free speech.
It's like, I haven't resolved my philosophical conundrum. How can I go to sleep until one of the sides in this argument in my head wins?
Honey, none of that matters. I just need you to go the fuck to bed.
Listen, Satoru.
That's my name.
This world is a game.
A game? I made a suspicious face. I was a bit disappointed, frankly. I didn't think you would use such a stale expression.
You're thinking something rude, aren't you? Listen, this world is a game about trying to do well in society.
Oh?
What are the conditions for playing a game? Well, the rules that each player understands. I'll say it again. Society is a game, and so is the organization you belong to.
You mean the police?
Listen, Satoru, not saying bad things about people in their presence is just another rule of the game. It's not about you not reading the mood or not being able to understand people's feelings. It's the same principle as the inability to use hands in soccer or double dribbles in basketball. That's all it is. A rule to make the game more fun.
A rule.
You've just learned that rule, and it will allow you to play the game properly, right?
He looked up at me with an indomitable smile. His words, however, made me uneasy. Games have rewards. What would that be here?
Your social standing.
That was something I desperately wanted.
You'll get more followers on Insta.
I do not know what an Insta is. We still have CRTs, and we still have to pre-record shows, but also, and we have Walkmans, but also, weren't there smartphones at one point?
Yeah.
I'll go for it.
He's so useless. God, what a shitty assistant. He'll just run into a career dead end sooner or later. Right, Samejima?
There it was again. Things like this happened all the time in groups and organizations. Why was he asking me that? Why did he want my agreement? And how was I supposed to respond? And then I remembered what Mamiya had told me.
This world is a game about trying to do well in society.
I love flashing back to 5 seconds ago.
Not saying bad things about people in their presence is just another rule of the game.
I suppose this is a place where we complain about our coworkers.
Oh, what kind of question is that? Can't you tell?
I knew the rules now. That could only mean it was okay to talk behind people's backs here. Yes, I agree completely.
Man, I'm kind of relieved. Guess even you've got complaints and shit piling up, huh?
I wasn't sure what they were saying. I just knew that they were talking and that was it. At that moment, a poem I respected a lot came to my head. Unflinching in the rain, standing strong in the wind. Unflinching in the rain, standing strong in the wind. Before I knew it, we were talking about a recent murderer.
Unflinching in the rain, standing strong in the wind.
A burglarer?
A burglar? No.
Hold
on, I can't.
A murderglar.
Unflinching in the rain, standing strong in the wind. Strange fruit? Nope, this is a summary and analysis. I don't want. This is it. Nope, that might not even be it. I've gotten so many different responses. Never mind, I don't know. If you know what it is, let me know. Google ain't helping.
Before I knew it, we were talking about a recent burglarer. I was overcome by shock, like I had just found shelter in the middle of a storm. They didn't suspect me in the slightest.
A recent murderer.
A recent murder burger.
Oh. In that moment, the air in the room became absurdly easy to breathe. I felt like I had just resurfaced from underwater. Was it always this easy? Was it this easy to live as a part of society? Once I had the reasoning, there was nothing to fear and nothing to blame myself for. As long as I knew the rules, even I could participate in this game called society. Until now, I'd only viewed Mamiya as a talking corpse, but that day, he became someone special to me. He would once again begin to occupy my thoughts. What was he exactly? He looked like a young boy still in elementary school, but spoke like a wise old man. Was he a reaper or an angel? Both felt correct, yet neither seemed right. Regardless, he had appeared before me. And naturally, I began wanting to know more about him. Which we'll have to do next time. Good God. What? What a fucking... Every time I think this game is done sending stuff at me, it's just like, no, we got more. We got more, buddy.
I also still haven't gotten over how we now have two different versions of MAMIYA that look visually related and that also look suspiciously similar to Minato.
Yeah.
That's upsetting to me too. Like, that can't be a coincidence unless it is.
Unless it... Anyway, let us know what you think about Murder Basement Samajima. Actually, he didn't sound like he had a murder basement, which is honestly the part of it. He didn't even put down a tarp. He's not even like a Bateman at this, right? He's just some casual level murder shit here. God, get a real hobby, man.
Smash that like, comment and subscribe.